Alright, everybody. It says I'm on live. I'm going to double check on my phone real quick. We're going to be doing a Let's Watch for The Last of Us, Season 2, Episode 2, called Through the Valley. Now, just to be clear, that title definitely is very ominous. Very ominous. I'll just say that much, okay? Alright, so got it going.
That you're like, holy
okay,
fuck. Like, I do not ever want to play this person. This person
is the wrong one. Okay. Let's see if I can remember. I'm in. Oh, yeah. Go to your videos. Alright. Go to live. And this says we're live. Let's record. This does not say we're live. Why am I not seeing it? Alright, let me get on here. I was trying to avoid going on my... I was trying to avoid going on my browser on here, but it's not showing on my phone, which makes me nervous. Okay, it's showing on here. So, I'm trying to use my phone for commenting if I need to comment. So, that's why I'm trying to get this on my phone. Let's go back home, go back to mine, go to live. It is not showing. How? Okay, I'll do it like I did last time, which means I have to shrink. Okay, so I'm going to just open up my YouTube on my laptop. So I will be able to comment from there, which is what I did last time anyway. I thought I'd be able to do it from my phone, but it is not showing up there. It's like my live stream is not showing up. This is gonna... Oh, I thought it was gonna make noise. It is not making noise. That is okay. What is happening? Come on. I hope I don't find out there's like some problem with my internet or something. That would really suck. Live. And it's there. Okay, so we'll go there. Go there. And I'm going to turn the volume off and let it play. All right, y'all. Okay, so we're doing Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2, Through the Valley. Like I said, sounds like an ominous... It just sounds like a very depressing title. Anyway, I do want to kind of go over a little bit of last episode so we can kind of roll into this episode with a little bit of a refresher on what happened last episode. So last was the premiere episode called Future Days, which was also, I believe, the beginning of the game title, something like that. Future Days, to kind of... I think in the game they were implying that this is something that happens in the future. But it could also be taken as we are unpacking things to prepare for the future. I'm going to take it that way in the season, at least, that we're kind of showing how things are so we can prepare for the future. But it may also be that this is something that is going to happen in the future, something like that. Because in the game, we step back after this. So I don't know if they'll do it that way, but Anyway. All right. So for last episode, we start basically right where we left off, with what happened after Joel rescued Ellie without her consent, rescued Ellie after Ellie had already said that she was going to go along with this. Now, she was not given proper information and consent. So she was operating on a kind of misinformation. She wasn't given complete information. She was not given information that the procedures she was involved in would definitely kill her. And to me, that's a problem. I think, personally, that had she been given that information, she would have chose to go along with it anyway. But she was never given that information. And from what I recall, when they got to that place, they were basically both knocked out. And then she was brought in to get this procedure done. Like, Joel hadn't even freaking regained consciousness. So they just freaking took them, brought her in to get this procedure done with no fucking information being provided to either of them. That to me is just a huge problem. But anyway, it leads to, when Joel finds out what's happening, it leads to him going on a fucking mad rampage through the hospital, killing lots of people, and taking Ellie out of there. But we start the episode this season with him basically starting off with a big lie. She asks him to be very honest with her. Tell her if what he said about the fireflies was actually true. That all of it was true. She didn't want a half-ass story. She wasn't trying to there was no option where you could look at what she said and say, oh, well, he just left stuff out. No, she wanted the whole truth, and he lied. He straight up lied. And I think she knew that, at least deep down inside. And maybe while she was young like that, she kind of dealt with it and, just kind of went along with things. Adults lie to us sometimes. It sucks. It does break our trust. But I think as kids, you kind of grow to expect it. The problem, I think, now in this season is that she is older. And she knows that he lied. I don't know if she has evidence or if it's just that gut instinct that he was lying, that he was not telling the truth. But either way, I'm pretty sure she has a good idea that he lied. And she's older now, and I think she understands that that she probably sees that as a big break in trust. And then as we see in the episode, there's things that Joel is doing to show that he wants to keep protecting her. And he wants to keep doing things for her and to keep her from getting hurt. But it's also stopping her from being able to make her own decisions. Stopping her from doing her own thing. His trying to keep her from getting hurt and save her from herself or whatever he's doing is stopping her from making her own choices, from showing people that she can do, and she's also a freaking teenager. She's at an age where she's going to want to start gaining independence. And Ellie has always been, as far as I can tell, has always been a tough person. A person who takes risks that she probably shouldn't take, things like that. She's always been that person. So that's not really new. I think I saw some comments from other people that made it sound like this was like somehow something above and beyond or new. But no, she's always been a risk taker. She's always been tough. She's always put herself in situations that are not the safest. And she's a teenager. So you pile that stuff on, and I think it can lead to some really messed up stuff. Anyway, we also had this dance at the end, or towards the end, and Ellie and Dina end up kissing. And of course you have the situation with Seth saying the things that he said, which I thought were hypocritical, because you're going to call out these two girls for kissing because this is a family event, but you have all these people in there doing their own thing, getting close up, drinking, all of that. You're not calling out any of that. But then on top of that, you use a freaking slur to address them. And I stupidly got on some comments after that episode in somebody else's reaction, I think, and we got into this stupid ass argument over that scene, over the violence in the scene, okay? And they were upset that violence like that, then this guy getting knocked to the ground over a word, that's what they were upset about. It was a word, and Joel reacted by knocking this guy to the ground, and he saw that as, I think it was a she actually, saw that as a very uneven thing, and, that it's very violent. Now, to me, I have a background in domestic violence and sociology and stuff like that. And this person was implying that that violence is only physical. Violence can't be words. And I've never really agreed with that. But in domestic violence, you have abuse cases that are emotional. You have emotional abuse, you have psychological abuse, you have financial abuse. All of these things are considered abuse. They're also considered forms of domestic violence. So to me, the idea that violence only comes in a physical form doesn't make sense. To me, that's wrong. To me, the words that he said were said in violence. Maybe they weren't at that level that Joel and Ellie were responding to them at, but still, like, he set up the entire event. Like, what he said created an atmosphere of violence. Those words are insightful. They incite violence. That is where that phrase comes from. Words that incite violence are words that are used to create violence in the environment. And so to me, I was like, the whole thing was violent. The comments that he made, the hypocrisy that he used, the degrading slur that he used against them, those were violent. And Joel's response was violent. And Ellie looked like she was probably going to also respond in violence. So, yeah, that was just something that came up with somebody that I started arguing with, which I probably shouldn't have done. And I probably got carried away with it. And they were getting very frustrated and saying that us getting like so bent out of shape over a word was ridiculous and stupid. Well, they said much worse things, but to me, no, like, fucking words can be violent. Anyway, I think that's enough for now. There's some stuff that's going to happen in this episode that we'll unpack later on. I will talk a little bit about the episode at the end, but for right now, let's go ahead and get started with the show. So I'm going to play my recording that I pre-recorded of my reaction. There will be a 10-second timer that plays before. When that 10-second timer is done, if you have Last of Us Episode 2, you can press play. And I have Last of Us Episode 2 on here. I will press play. And if anybody wants to comment to me, I have my account open on my live stream on the laptop. So I can make comments on my laptop. I was trying to do it on my phone. That didn't quite work out. I could try it again later, but for right now, I'll respond on my laptop, but I am also going to be playing The Last of Us Episode 2 on my laptop, just like I did last time. All right, let's go ahead. I gotta make sure that I do this all correctly. So I'm gonna need to turn the audio on my mic off. I'm not gonna turn my mic itself off. I'm gonna turn it off on the streaming software. And we're gonna close this and this. All right, everybody, this is The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2, Through the Valley. Let's go ahead and get this show started. Okay, so this is the hospital scene right after her father dies.
Don't go in there.
Stop it!
I'm telling you, go back.
No! His brains are on the floor.
So this is a memory, because that's her talking to her. I don't know you. Well, that sure as shit gives you a much clearer picture of, her motivations than what the game did for a long time. But like I said, I liked that they did leave that out. So you could kind of get that real difference between what it feels like to be fighting against the bad guy, and then gradually find out that the bad guy that you thought was so bad has other underlying motivations that you had no fucking clue about. It's interesting that they're seeing them as bigger and more in the daylight than they were at nighttime, because I feel like at nighttime the lights kind of seem amplified. Like when you're up in a plane and you see city lights, it makes everything look so much bigger and so much more. Whereas when you are up there without seeing any of those lights, it's like really not. And granted, you're not an airplane, but you're up in this aerial view way above them, and it's daylight. Like,
and if they don't talk, then what?
Yeah, it's not like we could let them go.
I do have the beginnings of an idea for a plan. Maybe. Just need some time. I have to let it crystallize.
But you're onto something.
I'm onto something.
Okay. Then let's buy you some time then.
I am not a big fan of the freezing cold. I do like the snow. I think it's pretty. It's fun to play in, but I can only deal with it for a short amount of time. I have to really be bundled up. Outside of that, I usually prefer the warmth. Plus, I have arthritis, and it just gets worse from cold and rain and wind and all of that. My body aches more. It's so nice. Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Yep. Ah, this is golden. Just like the game. Yep, see, just like the game. Love it. See, some people were complaining that that the TV series didn't start with that because that's kind of how the game started. But it seems like the show is kind of trying to stick more to a linear timeline, like a chronological timeline. Not exactly. Yes, they jump back and forth between the 5 years ago and now, but it seems like what they're doing with the show to keep everybody up on what's actually happening is showing the events more as they happen. That's what it seems like. Because so much was just like out of order when you play the video game. Are we?
Shit with Joel is complicated. I know that. From the outside, it probably looks really bad. It has been really bad. But I'm still me, he's still Joel, and nothing's ever gonna change that. Ever. So you can all stop talking about us, worrying about us, and thinking about us. Alright?
Not exactly. But I'm glad she has at least got that straight in her head. Because I also saw a lot of people complaining about that. That, oh, it didn't seem like it was that bad in the game. And they made it look so awful on the show. And I'm like, you gotta freaking try to really grasp where she's coming from. It's not going to be like a right there in your face thing. It's going to be something that you have to like really grapple with what a 19-year-old girl dealing with the shit she has dealt with in the past and dealing with what she's experiencing now as that 19-year-old girl is going to like feel like, is going to act like. Excuse me. It's interesting that that they've got the full-grown adults, the elderly, and the young kids all in here hearing this full meeting. But they are softening it for the younger kids and elevating it for the older people. But they're not keeping the kids ignorant of it. It's a needed drill. It's an important drill. Because what you don't know, but I'm pretty sure we're going to find out later, is there's shit simmering under the seams that's going to fucking come unraveled at some point. That actually, to me, sounded more sincere than the game version. And she might not see it that way, but good on him. Like, this stuff can be very difficult for older people. A lot of them don't get it. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. And trying to really get it through their heads because of the brainwashing that they went through their whole life with society treating that stuff like it was abominable and horrible. Like getting that through their head that they were wrong, that society was wrong. That there is nothing evil or sinful or abominable about people loving each other people expressing that love for each other, regardless of their sex or gender. And before anybody goes on about, oh, but pedophiles, we're not talking about pedophilia. We're talking about two people who love each other that either do or do not have the same gender. That is not the same thing. It is not in the same vicinity of the same thing. The moral parallels to that are very freaking limited. Like, that is not a comparison of oranges to oranges or apples to apples. That's a comparison of oranges to fucking coal or something. Eh. And I'm assuming this is in preparation for that mob that they're concerned about, because of all the reports they've gotten lately. On top of that, this huge storm, that's not good. I definitely have some concerns about this episode. It's called Through the Valley, which to me is very ominous. Through the Valley of the Shadow of Death. And because the game, I know something horrible is eventually going to happen. I'm really hoping they at least wait till next week. But I have seen headlines and accidentally started to watch an interview from Pedro Pascal that I thought was concerning the first episode, but it was about this episode. And it sounds like it may very well be this episode. Did they change who's in this scene, in this scenario, on this ride? Because I'm pretty sure when she gets stuck in the pot building where Eugene used to go, she was with Dina. That's going to very much change some of the stuff. At least some of my thoughts on it. I mean, it doesn't have to, but it could. It could very much change certain things with her and Dina's relationship. But I do remember her having that conversation with him earlier. The one that he had at the door. It just, I don't know. It's like the patrol is different. Like what they're patrolling and what happens during the patrol is different. And this is familiar though. It's a long way to slide. And it's windy. You might want to get your ass moving before you end up getting snowed in. Or you have avalanched in, or any other number of things. Oh, that is fucking freaky as hell. Okay, hold on. I have to turn something off. Okay. I had my browser open, which unfortunately sends a crapload of notifications while it's open, so I needed to close that up. Fucking terrifying. Oh my god. And I don't remember in the game if they really showed when Joel started on his expedition that day. But so far they haven't showed it on here yet. I do remember going through this on the game. It has been kind of cool seeing some of the things like this, like gearing up your ammo and your weapons and reloading your guns, shit like that.
Give me your hand! Can you run? Run! That way!
Like in game, it's stuff that you do every game and it gets repetitive and it starts to seem stupid and cheesy and unrealistic and stuff like that. But I do like how they have been like using some of the same sounds and visuals and stuff like that on here to kind of coincide it with how you would experience in the game. It's pretty cool. So in this, Dina is with her. Alright, I'll just have to let it go. That, like, there's that whole scenario that happens between her and Ellie that's not gonna happen because she is with him the whole time. I mean, I could have almost swore that in that scenario, Joel was by himself and helped Abby that whole time. Maybe it was his brother might have been with him. It's okay. This isn't like major storyline stuff. It is switching little things around here and there, and they should be able to keep everything mostly intact. And I hope they do. I know there were things on the game that people didn't like, were very pissed off about, but I think you'll piss off fans more to alter the storyline too much from the game than you will to try to appease people that were mad about the game.
No, why?
Fuck.
Amy. Amy, come back.
And it all looks perfectly normal and innocent. Well, it did, because of the cold now. At least now he sees it. It's like on The Walking Dead when you got like one or two people just like making a bunch of noise and movement and the whole fucking mob just all comes after them. Oh my god. I'm glad they at least had somewhat of a freaking backup plan going. Oh my god. Some Game of Thrones looking shit. I cannot wait to see this on the Watchers at the Bar. I think that's going to be really cool to see some of the reactions. Oh my God. So you're gonna set it on fire. Oh my God. I think my phone is going off. It is. I'm gonna get up real quick. I gotta grab my phone and turn it off. It's the
I don't make it. I don't
winch
make
alarm.
it.
Almost there! The lodge is just up ahead. It's like a minute. We've got blankets, ammo. My friends can help you get back. We can fight.
Where is it?
Today, it'll be cloudy, with a forecasted high of 82 and a low of 64.
My phone was in my bathroom, where I left it. Oh my God. The big bloaters in the game, I don't remember being all that afraid of them. Like, I was afraid of them, but they don't show up that often. So it's like you deal with really trying to bust your ass to get rid of them while they're there, but once you get rid of them, you don't have to really see anymore for a while. At least from what I remember. Jesus Christ. Christ. Tommy, don't be a fucking hero. Fucking God. Okay, you can be that kind of hero. I did enjoy using that weapon. When I could. When I had the ammo I needed for it. And I used it a lot for the big bads. It tended to be pretty fucking effective. You gotta kill it, because otherwise it's gonna fucking just decimate everybody. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Come on, come on, come on. He's gonna run out of fuel. That was one of the things, is I would run out of fuel sometimes. And then you gotta fucking shift through your weapon and try to find something effective. Because the little fucking handgun isn't gonna do shit. Maybe there's somebody behind him. Behind the bloater. Ah, that's another thing that happens on the game. He'll do this, like, he'll look like he's still going, and then all of a sudden it'll be like this, like, he's dying, but he's not quite dead. But then sometimes when they do that with the big monsters, they'll, like, have them come down, and then they'll have them come back up. Like they got a second wind or something like that. But, I don't remember it doing that with the bloaters. It's fucking horrifying. I didn't think the dogs would be that effective, but That's kind of nice. And I don't don't remember, but I don't know if in the game they kind of showed when they figured out this was Joel.
Is Joel?
Jackson, do you copy?
So
Does anyone copy? Any patrol?
An unarmed doctor you shot in the head. Yeah. That was my dad.
I mean, at least they're not completely abandoning the scenario that happened with the original. Like, what she's doing, that definitely happened. But it was Dina and her that came in like this.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. You're gonna die. You're all gonna fucking die. It feels about like I remember it feeling in the game. I mean, I was much more shocked in the game because we had no fucking clue. But like, just imagine you're playing the game, you know goddamn nothing about who Abby is. You know nothing about what she went through with the Fireflies. And she rides up and fucking Joel saves her like she does. And she gets him to this freaking place. And then that shit happens. That shit happens with no fucking explanation at all. Like, she's freaking bludgeoning the shit out of him. And we don't know why. Like, I was seriously like, what the I was so freaking angry. Like, I fucking hated her. So angry. Like, how the fuck could you do that? Because I didn't know. I had no clue that she was that doctor's kid. Oh my god. Okay, y'all. That was episode 2. I was worried they would do it. I was really hoping they would at least wait until the next episode for that entire attack, kill, and murder scene. But no, they did it. I guess at least it's done and out of the way. But yeah, people were very, very, very perturbed that Joel got killed basically at the very beginning of the game. He's supposed to be the star. He's supposed to be the main character. And then, bam, he's gone. And we don't get why until we start to get a backstory. Alright, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and switch it over to my live self. Okay, that's done. God, that fucking episode. I've watched it too many times now, and it's fucking horrible. And plus playing the game was fucking probably even worse, but it's fucking awful. It sucks. Really wanted them to wait, but they did not wait. I gotta wonder, though, what they're gonna do for next week's. I'm thinking I'm gonna I don't want to look too much into it, but I'll check the titles at least, and I will go ahead and watch the kind of behind the scenes or inside the episode, whatever it is that they have for the last episode. So I haven't watched that yet. So fucking rough. I knew it was coming, but it still sucks. Alright, well, I still have my agenda of things I wanted to cover before we take off out of here. I did not write down lines like I did last time. But for my favorite scene, I thought the scene where Jesse goes and goes to get Ellie to do their run. When he starts confronting her about what went on the night before, and her and Dina kissing her and everything, that was great. I loved that. I loved that episode. It was funny and amusing. Yeah, funny and amusing are the same thing. It was funny. It cracked me up, but it also, like, he also had that little dig right at the end. It was really fucked up that you did that. Even though when he finally acknowledged that he knew about it, that he didn't care. But, yeah. Alright, so that was my favorite scene. Okay. Worst scene, in my opinion, and always will be, during doing it in the game, would probably have been my worst scene then too, was fucking Abby just continuing on for so long, just beating the shit out of Joel. Just on and on and on.
that to me was the worst. Like, just because after a while, it's like, what the fuck is the point? And some of the battle scene, like when I'm watching battle scenes and stuff, like it's very intense and it's very exciting, but I also start to like, I don't know, like kind of zone out after a while because I'm like, it's all the same, and I get so tired of it. And that's how that fucking, like, you're freaking beating a dead horse. You're fucking beating somebody so long, like, what is the fucking point? Yeah, that was my least favorite scene. VIP for the episode, Tommy taking on that fucking giant goddamn zombie. Even though he's fucking terrified. Like, you saw almost all the other guys fucking ran off. The one guy did not, but he ended up getting killed. But Tommy stuck to it even though he was fucking terrified. And then he had the... oh my god. When his fuel ran out, I was like, oh my god, no. Like, he wasn't even trying to get another weapon or anything out. But... I mean, he's probably fucking frozen with fear. But still, he did what he could. Despite his fears, he did what he could to call attention to that thing, get it the fuck out of there, draw it away from the fucking crowd, and eventually killed it. And I did kind of like how it showed that the zombie dying a lot like they do on the game. Like, you don't, like, he just seems like he's gonna keep on going. And then all of a sudden, like, when I was watching it again this time, it did seem like right before it started to do that where it just, like, freezes up and then falls over dead. It did seem like it had started to slow down a lot. So maybe you might have been able to see that it, you know, that it was coming close, but but for the most part, it just looked like it was gonna keep on going and keep on going, and I was like, oh god, I was just like, please, like, somebody be behind him and fucking take this thing out or something. But it went down. Of course, you know, that is TV magic. That is TV magic. Let me close this. I am not going to be on my comment section. I have been commenting the whole time. I know nobody else is really on there, but I've been commenting the whole time because I just felt like it. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that because I know there's not going to be a lot of people watching this, but sometimes I got stuff to say, and I kind of like being able to put some little interjections in there every now and then. Okay, so that was VIP. Piece of shit for the episode was Abby. I thought about putting somebody else just because Abby was so fucking obvious this time. And I get Abby had her reasons. I get that. And I get that vengeance can really fucking screw you up and make you a fucking nutcase and everything. But goddamn, like, she was drawing all her friends into this shit, wouldn't let them out of it, and was just being awful and putting people at so much fucking risk. And honestly, if you look back at what happened, the bulk of that fucking mass coming out when it did, that started because of what she did. Yes, I think the fucking mob was going to come anyway. I really thought it was going to come later. That wasn't a part of the game. That is something that they changed. There were a couple things they changed. And that was one of them. I think something like that may have eventually happened, but it wasn't at that point. That was not what was going on at that point in the game. But it's like she freaking brought it on so that it happened faster, so that it happened sooner. I mean, who knows? I wonder where the place that they were working on that stuff, I wonder where that was. Because I suspect that if she had not been trying to go after the people that she saw, which was Joel and Dina, and had not disturbed that flock of frozen walkers or dead or zombies or whatever you want to call them, that they probably would have been drawn attention to by the work that was being done in that area, where that pipe was, where that old house was. I suspect that's where that mob would have gone had she not done what she did. But she didn't know. She was after one thing, and that was killing Joel, which she got. It fucking sucks, but it was something I knew that was coming. I was pretty confident there was no way that the showrunners were going to avoid killing Joel off. I just thought they might wait a little longer. Because in the game, it happened so quick. It happened so soon and so early in the game that you're like, what the fuck? Because that's who you're playing when you start out playing that game. You're playing Joel. And then that shit happens, and Joel is dead, and they fucking make you play her. And in the game, you don't even know, you have no idea why she fucking did this. Like, I'm sitting there thinking, I mean, obviously, like, this is what my thought process was before I understood that she was the doctor's kid. My thought process was like, Joel must have done something to somebody. What did he do to these people? Like, that's what my thought process was. Because we know that Joel's done a lot of really awful things. We know he's killed a lot of people. And we know he doesn't give it a lot of thought, really. He goes into these rages. He fucking kills people. If it's his job, he's going to kill them without really thinking too much about it. And in the situation that he was in, that her dad ended up dead, he was in a fucking rage and was rage killing everybody. So that was my immediate thought after all that shit happened. After like I was freaking infuriated at her, like I said on the recording. I was like, I hated her. I didn't understand why she was doing this. It was so awful. But then I was also thinking, what the fuck did Joel do to these people to set them off? Because I knew he had to have done something. But it definitely did not dawn on me that it would have been what he had done 5 years prior when he killed that doctor. It's totally fucked up. Is that everything? I think that is everything. I think next week when I do the I think next week when I do episode 3 at the beginning, maybe I'll talk a little bit about what I think they might do with that episode, what they might do with future episodes, something like that. I mean, at the point that I do these live streams, I've already watched the show at least once. And unfortunately with this one, I had watched it 3 times, which is not a good idea. This is a really freaking emotional, horrible episode. It is not a good idea to watch this episode 3 times before I come on here and do a live stream, but I did. Next week, maybe I won't do that. So I didn't do that with the first episode. So I don't know why I did it with this episode. I think it was that, I think it was partially that I had not actually sat down with my family to watch this yet when I did the first episode. Whereas this time I had sat down with my family and watched it. I had watched a couple of the reactions and reviews. So I really had just seen too much of it. Yeah, and when I'm editing it, yeah, I go through it, but it doesn't have to be like a straight through. I can kind of chop things up, do a little bit at a time. I don't have to like sit there and put myself through that the whole time. Whereas sitting and watching it with my family, I'm watching the whole thing all the way through, and it was rough. It was rough. But anyway, like I said, I think next week I will start off, before I put my recording on, I will start off by talking about ideas that I have that maybe they might do. I'll watch the inside the episodes and everything, and I'll watch a few more reactions, and there's some theory videos on YouTube that I'll probably watch, and maybe that will give me some more ideas. A lot of what I come up with is going to be based on what they're doing on the show now, along with what has happened in the game that I can remember. I don't remember everything. Like, I keep calling that giant zombie bloater, but I'm not sure that he's actually a bloater. I think he has a different name, but I can't freaking remember what his name is. So, anyway. But, you know, if you see me on here later on and you're watching later on, then, and you're interested, I am going to be doing these every Thursday. I will try to start at 3:30. I put it 3:30 or 4 so that there's a range just in case I'm busy or I can't get everything set up in time or whatever. But I'm going to try to start at 3:30. That's what I will usually strive for, is to start at 3:30. If I don't start at 3:30, it's probably because I didn't quite get everything ready in time and I'm just trying to get it all together. But I will try to do it starting at 3:30 every Thursday. So next episode is season 3. I don't even know what it's called. I'll find out later. One thing I do want to address, when I put my recording on, the timer was all jacked up because apparently so for my own image, I have a cutout that is softened on the edges that goes right over the top of the background that I use on there. And I think because it was in the same layer that I had my recording, I accidentally pasted the attributes to those cutouts for my image onto the timer. And so it was only showing like the bottom corner of the timer instead of the whole timer. I will be very careful to make sure that I don't do that again next time. Sorry about that anyway. But that is all I got for you this week. I will see you next week, 3:30. And if I can't be ready by 3:30, it should be no later than 4 p.m. Eastern Time. 3:30 Eastern Time, no later than 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And I will try to keep my discussion maybe a little more concise than I had it this time. I don't think I did that bad last time. I think I went a little longer than I wanted to this time. But yeah, we'll talk about possibilities for future for what they might do for future episodes, and then we'll get right into episode 3. See you next week. Bye.